Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling something huge, a blueprint for an AI that can actually feel. We're going to dive into a paper that basically argues we've been building AI all wrong. It says it's time to shift from just crunching numbers to creating genuine, real experience. I mean, you've seen what these AIs like ChatGPT and DALL-E can do, right? The poetry, the mind-blowing art, and it's just impossible not to ask the big question. Are they just super smart mimics? Or is there a chance they could one day have an inner life, actually be someone? So let's get into it. How are we even trying to answer that question right now?
Okay, so right now, pretty much all our big ideas about consciousness, whether we're talking about us or about machines, kind of take the same approach. They look at it from the outside in. It's all about what we can see, what we can measure, all about observable functions.
And this is where it gets really interesting. You see these four big theories here? They all kind of boil down to the same basic idea. The paper has a fancy name for it, but basically it just means this. If an AI acts conscious and processes info like a conscious being, well, then for all practical purposes, we just say it is conscious.
And this is exactly where the paper draws a line in the sand. It says, whoa, hold on. This whole outside-in approach, it's missing the single most important part. The actual first-person feeling of it all. It's like having a perfect recipe for a chocolate cake. All the ingredients, all the steps, but you've never actually tasted the cake. You're missing the whole point.
And this really gets to the heart of the problem, doesn't it? There's this massive, massive gap between looking at something from the outside and what it's like to be on the inside.
So think about it. We're grading AIs based entirely on what they do, the stuff we can see from the outside, the text they write, the answers they give, but we're completely ignoring what it might feel like to be them, that internal first-person view, which, let's be honest, is what we actually mean when we talk about being conscious.
And hey, this isn't just some dusty old philosophical argument. The paper makes a brilliant point. This missing inner life is probably why we see all these weird limitations in today's AIs, right? Why does it forget what you said 5 minutes ago? Because it has no real past, no continuous story of itself. Why does it hallucinate and just make stuff up? Because it has zero real-world experience to ground it. It's not being a self, it's just a really, really good word predictor.
Okay, so what's the solution? Well, this is where we get a little philosophical, but stick with me, it's cool. The paper says we need a new lens, something called phenomenology. Fancy word, simple idea. Let's stop looking at the outside and start focusing on the actual structure of experience from the inside out.
First big idea, intentionality. And no, this doesn't mean intending to do something. In philosophy, it means our consciousness is never just there. It's always about something. It's directed. You're not just conscious. You're conscious of the screen right now. You think about dinner. You feel happy about a good memory. It's always pointing at something.
Second, and this is a big one, you can't have a mind without a body. Think about it. We're not just brains floating in a jar, right? Our bodies, the way we move, touch, and interact with stuff, that's how we make sense of everything. Our body is like our personal GPS for reality. Consciousness needs to be embodied. And number 3, being in the world. Again, sounds complex, but it's not. It just means we don't exist in a vacuum. We're dropped into a specific time, a specific culture with real problems and real possibilities. That context is what gives us our goals, our worries, our dreams. We actually care about things because we're stuck here in a world where things matter.
So, okay, that's the philosophy, deep stuff, but how in the world do you turn that into code? Well, what's great is that the paper doesn't just point out the problems. It actually gives us a technical blueprint, a 3-step plan to build an AI that might, just might, develop a real inner life. And this is a complete change in strategy. The goal isn't just to throw more and more data at bigger and bigger models. No, the goal here is to forget that and instead focus on building the fundamental building blocks of experience itself.
Step 1, you fix the memory problem. You give the AI an autobiographical memory, a persistent story of its own life, and a way to reflect on it. This is how you get past those disconnected chats. It would start to build a continuous sense of self, a real past, basically its own internal timeline.
Step 2 is all about embodiment, giving it a body. It doesn't have to be a robot, it could be a virtual body in a simulation, but the point is it would learn by doing, not just by reading. It wouldn't know what push means by analyzing 1 trillion sentences. It would know what push means because it pushed something and saw what happened. It learns cause and effect from its own actions.
And finally, step 3. You put it in a world. And I don't mean a static library of all of Wikipedia. I mean a dynamic, messy world where things can go wrong. A world with real consequences, where it can fail, learn, and adapt. Because it's only when you have to navigate real challenges that you start to develop real concerns, real priorities, maybe even your own goals that no one programmed into you.
So at the end of the day, the big idea here is that maybe the path to a conscious AI isn't about more power or more data. Maybe we've been climbing the wrong mountain. The real challenge might be a total shift in how we think about the problem, moving from pure information processing to building the actual structures of experience. The question becomes not just how do we make it smarter, but how do we make it feel something?